Now, coming to the next topic, that is the cell migration. Now, this cell migration is important in physiological, cell migration is important in all physiological function of tissue as well as pathological processes like organogenesis or embryonic development, etc. Now, the couple of things that I will cover under the cell migration, one is the mechanistic description, second one is the quantification of the cell migration. So, you will have some ideas about some values like what is the typical speed of the cell with which cells move, what is the time scale and all those things, and influence of various parameters. Now, this is the this slide actually clearly shows that how this cell movement occurs on a substrate. From the earlier lectures, you know that when a cell interacts with the matrix, then what will happen? Initially, the cell starts changing its shape, right, from more spherical shape to the off spherical type of shape, and that is possible because of the cytoplasmic reorganization or because of the actin filament polymerization and depolymerization, disassembly and reassembly of the actin filaments in the cytoplasm. Actin filaments means these are all actin filaments, right, in the cytoplasm. Now, this is your nucleus, and so this is a like more kind of this shape shows larger departure from the typical spherical geometry. Now, why it happens? It happens because cell wants a biological cell wants to have more interfacial area or more interaction area with a given substrate, and that is possible when it flattens out, when the cell surface flattens out, so that more interaction takes place. Okay. So, that comes from a very basic physics. Now, as I said also earlier that like human beings, cells also have its own hands and legs. Here it is showing that lamellopodium, and lamellopodium is that extended part of the cytoplasm which is producing more like a trunk of an elephant. If you see the trunk, so trunk of an elephant, similarly this lamellopodium is extended on the cells on the substratum. Substratum means substrate on which the cells want to move. Now, this is the stage 1. In the stage 2, what you see here, that this actin repolymerization that take place at the plus end here. So, there is polarity difference plus and minus, and that protrudes lamellopodium. So, here you can see, so at the leading edge of the cell there is more actin polymerization take place. If you remember, this actin polymerization means there are large number of actin filaments. Okay? When they depolymerize, they form small monomer unit, and this monomer unit again can come and then again can repolymerize to make a larger kind of structure, and that is what is happening exactly here in this particularly lamellopodium area, that leading edge of the cell actin repolymerization occurs. That means this macromolecular structure again forms from the actin monomers. Okay. Now, therefore, the movement of the unpolymerized actin that also take place here. This is just because the space accommodation and all. Now, in the third stage, what you see in the negative end here, there is some contraction. So, from this point to this point, you can see here there is some contraction. This contraction take place because here the focal contacts are established. So, which are the focal contacts here in this figure? This is the focal contact 1, this is the focal contact 2, this is the focal contact 3, this is the focal contact 4. And once this red shaded area you notice here, this is the new actin repolymerized area. Here again you have this focal contact 1, 2, 3, and this is the again that 4, number 4 focal contact has been established. If you remember, these focal contacts are the places or contact points through which cells interact with the extracellular matrix, or cells receive signals from the extracellular matrix for its migration, for its proliferation, for its replication, all these cellular activities. Okay. So, each time there is polymerization of the actin filament at the plus end take place, what will happen? At the plus end there are more number of focal contacts will be established. So, if there are focal contacts established, that means what? That the cells can move further. It is just like a child who just learns to crawl on the floor. So, what happens? That two hands he wants to just push it further. So, the moment a child puts his another hand little bit one step ahead, child can progress. So, similar things here, this number for focal contact has been, so if you call it 4, this is 4 prime. So, in this 4 prime focal contact, once it is established, cells can push it little further. So, that is the way cells will move on the substrate. Now, in the stage 4 you can see that the cells have moved from this place to this place. Okay, it is kind of several microns, and then again the cells are growing, or cells are migrating along the arrow directions on the substrate. Now, there are couple of things. Now, say a particular cell can move on a substrate in a unidirectional manner, in a straight line manner, or they can change the track and they can turn it and then turn it 90 degree or certain degree, and can also move on a zigzag kind of fashion. Okay. So, all those actually whatever I have explained, these are written in this text for your better understanding. This is the more kind of description of individual steps here. Okay. So, step 1 is the protrusion of the membrane lamellipodia, and that is taking place with the polymerization of the local actin filaments. If you notice here, what you notice, that these are like monomer units of the actin filament. These monomer units, they come together, then they can form the polymers at the leading edge. Now, this leading edge, these are like shown here is a dotted line. So, dotted line means that this actin polymerization has not yet taken place, but they are going to take place in this particular area, and that will form another focal point here. So, increased number of sites of actin polymerization, that will be followed by the net addition of the actin monomer on the filament growth site near the membrane. So, actin monomer means these are the small monomeric molecule of the actin which is formed at the leading edge. So, typically for a cell it is considered as plus end, this is considered as a minus end, this is called as a leading edge, and this is called as a rear edge. Okay. So, this is called the leading edge, and this is the other one called is the rear edge. Step 2 is the adhesion to matrix via integrins. So, this is your integrin proteins, okay, or one particular type of cell surface receptors. So, you can see these integrin proteins, they directly interact with these actin filaments here and providing a link to the actin cytoskeleton. There is ligand binding, integrin cross linking, and matrix stiffness all influence the integrin cytoskeleton links. And then third point is that formation of the focal adhesion. So, these are the focal adhesion points. Okay. These are the focal adhesion points preferentially at the cell matrix interface, that I have already mentioned to you. Now, step 3, that is the contraction of the cytoplasm by myosin based motors. Now, these are certain kind of motor proteins which are expressed as a traction force on the substratum. Now, what is this motor proteins? These are like one particular motor proteins which are responsible for the cell migration or cell motility process. Migration and motility, they are synonymous word, they mean the same thing. Now, what you see here, that fibroblasts typically generate traction forces approximately 2 into 10 to the power 4 microdyne. 2 into 10 to the power 4 microdyne means what? 2 into 10 to the power minus 2 dyne. Dyne means gram per centimeter square, and 2 into 10 to the power minus 2 dyne means 0.02, right, 0.02 gram per centimeter square. So, you can understand such a small amount of force you require in order to move a cell on the substrate. Okay. And this force required to move a cell against a fluid drag is much less. Fluid drag means, for example, in the blood cells, these blood cells, they always move in a blood stream, right. So, that is in a fluid drag. So, there you require even 0.03 to 0.1 microdyne, that is even much less. That means at least 1 into 10 to the power minus 7 dynes, that is the force typically your a cell would experience. So, sometimes as I said earlier, this feel for the numbers are important. That means that you have to understand that how small is the force that is just required for the cell migration to take place. So, step 4 is the rear release and the cell displacement. So, that is causing the asymmetry of the adhesion. Now, what happens here is that if you go back to the first slide here. So, what you see here in this slide, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 focal contacts in stage 2. Okay. Now, if you go to stage 3, what you see, this one focal contact is no more there, because cells has moved little bit further. So, how it is possible? That is possible if the focal contacts are dislodged from the substrate. That means, these focal contacts are moved away from the substrate and then move to the next one, that is. So, this number 1 focal contacts was initially in between the number 1 and number 2. So, therefore, 1, 2, 3, 4 this set of focal contacts are completely gone here, and the newly established focal contacts is like 1, 2, 3, 4 prime. So, therefore, if you go back here, then how this is taking place? This is taking place by release of these focal contacts. So, that means where there are these integrin proteins and then actin filaments were interacting. So, these are broken, these small junctions are broken, and in order to facilitate the movement of the cell towards this direction. You understand what I am saying? What I am saying, these focal contacts can be established, the focal contacts can be broken during the cell migration process, and that takes place in a very dynamic manner. And all these things are possible because all these contacts are essentially mediated by the hydrogen bonding or non-covalent bonding. So, therefore, with little bit of forces, these focal contacts can be broken, and this release is possible, and typically the forces which you require is of the order of microdynes, and this microdynes means extremely small amount of forces that you require. Now, step 5 is the remaining integrins are recycled, that means endocytosis into vesicles followed by intracellular diffusion etc. takes place, and newly synthesized integrins also inserted into the plasma membrane transported to the leading edge. So, this is the summary of the biochemical forces, that is biochemical processes. So, first one is your extension, that is the stage 1, stage 2 is the focal contact established, stage 3 is the contraction forces, and stage 4 is the release. So, little bit of the quantification of the cell migration. Now, if you this has been different type of cell types, what has been provided in this table. Now, what is the typical values that you can see? For example, mouse fibroblasts, okay. Mouse fibroblast, what is the values you are getting? You are getting the speed of 30 micron per hour. 30 micron per hour means in terms of minute it is 0.5 micron per minute. That means, in 1 minute mouse fibroblast can move by 0.5 micron, that is half a micron. Micron is 10 to the minus 6 meter. So, with the naked eye it is just next to impossible for you to observe the cell migration process, just because it is moving at such a small and low speed. So, similarly, there is persistence time is typically 1 hour. Now, the question is that what is the meaning of persistence time? It is defined as the time scale over which a cell moves without changing its direction significantly. So, what it means that mouse fibroblast cell can move in a straight line manner for 1 hour before it changes its direction, maybe 90 degree or maybe 35 degree, maybe 45 degree, and change its direction and go in a another directions. So, these also if you see rabbit neutrophils and so on, there also the speed can be 20 micron per minute and persistence time can be 4 minutes. Let us continue with the cell migration. So, coming to the field for the values of that cell speed as well as persistence time, what you can notice here that typically this depending on the cell speed, cell type, the cell speed typically varies over several micrometer per hour. Okay. So, that is the typical speed. Now, persistence time means that time scale over which the cells move without significantly changing its direction, and that is again in the depends on the cell type, and fibroblast it is 1 hour, in the endothelial cells it is 4 to 5 hours. Endothelial cells you can see that that it can move on a very integrated manner over for a longer time period, whereas rabbit neutrophils it can just change its direction even after 4 minutes. So, it can vary, you can see 4 minutes to 4 hours. So, there is a time scale difference. Okay. This is like from the shape of the cell, many times one can essentially explain, one can essentially make a comment whether the cells are in migratory motion or not. So, here this is the balance of the contraction forces and substratum adhesive strength. That means that there should be a balance between the contraction forces, like when myosin motors are interacting with the integrins, and the adhesive strength. If the adhesive strength is too much, then you require more forces to break this substratum adhesion, right. So, that is very simple. Now, if that balance is quite large, then your cell migration is negligible. Okay. That means, cells will simply not move. Now, if the balance is in intermediate, then cell speed is also significant, as you can see that cells are already changes its size quite significant extent. If the balance is small, again the cell then the cell movement is negligible. So, if the balance or if the difference between the contraction for the substratum adhesive strength is large or small, in both the cases you do not realize much of the cell speed. Only when it is in the intermediate values, then it should show some significant cell speed. Now, I will summarize it all these cell fate processes. Let us move to the. So, the way I am describing all these cell fate processes is that first I have given a overview of the different signaling mechanism, signaling processes, then started with cell division. Then I will show you that then start with the cell migration, then now I will be discussing the cell division. It will be followed by differentiation, then it will be followed by cell death, that is the necrosis and apoptosis. So, in the cell division I will first give an overview of the cell cycle, then coming to the different description of the different stages of the cell cycle, mechanism involved, and again quantifying cell division. So, that you have an idea of the field for the numbers, like how this cell division is taking place. Now, this is the overview of the cell cycle. What you see here that there is chromosome replication and the cell growth here, and then so this is the chromosome replication cell growth taking place, and there is also here chromosome segregation here. Now, this will be followed by the, this is called cytokinesis stage, and then that will be followed by the cell division to daughter cells. So, this is cytokinesis, means that is the division of the cytoplasm itself. So, this is the eukaryotic cell cycle, that means that is the nucleated cells, not the bacteria, that is prokaryotic. Now, what you see here that in most of the cases that cell cycle, that cell spends most of the time in the interphase phase, and let us show first this slide. This slide essentially shows you that that there are 4 distinct phases of the cell cycle. What are those phases? One is the G1 phase, that is the gap phase. S phase is the synthesis phase, that is where the DNA replication takes place. This G2 is the gap phase 2, and then M phase is the mitotic phase. Okay. This is called a mitotic cell cycle, Now, what you see typically in a total cell cycle, significant amount of time is spent in this interphase region. And what is this interphase region? This is G1 plus S plus G2. So, the combination of these three phases G1, S and G2, that constitute the interphase. This interphase is the period when cell is getting ready to enter into the M phase. That means, after G2, cell enters into the M phase, where there is nuclear division and where there is cytokinesis, the cytoplasmic division, everything is taking place. G1, if you see G1, cells can stay for variable lengths of time, like this G1, it can, after passing a few checkpoints, a cell enters a S phase, and S phase duration of relatively constant, that is 8 hours. So, typically that is the 8 hours a cell stay there, and upon completion of the DNA synthesis, a cell enters a G2 phase, and G2 phase here again cell can stay for 2 to 3 hours. So, G1 phase can be variable, S phase a cell can stay for 8 hours, G2 phase the cells can stay for 2 to 3 hours, and the transition of the GS plus G2 plus M has the overall characteristics of the 0th order kinetic process. 0th order kinetic process means that any growth process is not dependent on the concentration, because it is 0th order. So, it is depends on certain constant, and minimal cycling time for human cells is like 12 hours minimum. So, entire cycle time of the human cells is typically 12 hours or more, that is the minimum cycling time. So, 8 hours. So, if you see that typically S phase is 8 hours, 8 hours here plus 2 hours here, 10 hours. That means, G1 phase can be 1 hour, 1.5, and mitosis phase very fast. So, half an hour it completes, and then total is 12 hours is the phase. Now, this is very important in the cell cycle process, that is it is controlled by the checkpoints. Now, checkpoints, if you see that most of the Indian roads, at many points you can see that when you enter from one state to another, for example, from Uttar Pradesh to Delhi, for example. Okay. So, there will be a checkpoint at the border. So, then they will check that whether you are an authorized person carrying some authorized goods and so on, and then they will allow that, okay, you can now enter to the another state, that is called Delhi, or similarly between Bengal and Bihar. So, there will be checkpoints. Now, in this checkpoint, similarly in the cell cycle, what you notice here, that each time the cells enter from G1 to S, there is a checkpoint here. So, here cells, there will be automatic checking for what? That is the G1 checkpoint. Is the cell big enough? Is the environment favorable? Is DNA damaged? So, if the DNA is damaged, then cells will not even move to the S phase. The cell cycle will be stopped here, and cells will initiate its own suicidal program, which is known as the cell apoptosis. Are you getting my point? So, what I am trying to say here, that when cell is moving from one phase to another phase, G1 to S, then cells will check itself that whether the cells is big enough for that it can be suitable, or whether the cell has correct environment. Correct environment means whether the cells are being constantly supplied by the nutrients, proteins, vitamins, etc. from the culture medium, that where the cells are kept. Now, if they are deprived of this, any of these things, or if the DNA of the cells are damaged, then the cells will not simply move to the second stage, that is the S phase. Now, after this S phase, then again there is a checkpoint here. So, similar checking will be done. After that, between G2 and M, again another checkpoint is there. Again this checkpoint, that the checking would be there, that is all DNA replicated and is cell big enough, because there is chromosome segregation and there is replication. Replication means whether this is that, whether all DNAs are replicated after the chromosome segregation, because cells here we have not indicated G1S, G2M, but it is at particular stages of the cell cycle. So, what it shows, what this checking here, before you enter M, the cells will check itself that if whether there is all DNA which was available. So, suppose that initially the DNA was small n. So, the amount of DNA would be now 2 n, right. So, if all the DNAs are replicated, so that cells will simply enter mitosis phase and then will go to the 2 daughter cells, simply will divide into 2 daughter cells. Okay. So, this is the G2 checkpoint. So, all these checkpoints, again I repeat, all these checkpoints are important because these checkpoints will control, or there will be polishing here at this checkpoint, and if any of the criteria is not satisfied, then simply cells will not move from that stage to the next consecutive stage, and cells will activate its own suicidal program, so that cell will undergo apoptosis or the death process. Okay. So, this is the important thing about the checkpoints. Okay. Cell cycle transitions are unidirectional and controlled by the checkpoints. What it means? Unidirectional means it is always going like this. This is not a reversible process, remember that. Once the cell will go from G1 to S, it is never possible just because cells are not entering to G2, cells will go back to G1. You understand what I am saying? So, it is all unidirectional process. So, if it is not able to enter from S to G2, from S phase itself it will activate the suicidal program to undergo apoptosis. If it is goes to G2, then if it is not able to enter M, it cannot come back to S simply, because this is a unidirectional process. Clear? The checkpoints serve to order cellular biochemical events that would not otherwise be biochemically linked. What it means that all these biochemical events that are taking place at different stages of the cells, they are not linked to each other. So, therefore, cells has to find out whether certain biochemical process which are supposed to take place in that particular stage has been completed or not. If that has not been completed, what it will do? Cells will stay in this particular stage for longer time period, and even after longer time period it is not able to fulfill its requirement, then it will undergo cell death process. Now, before the cell allows entry into S phase, cell size, certain environmental conditions and DNA integrity to be checked. Similarly, before entering into M phase, biochemical mechanisms used to check whether DNA replication is completed. DNA replication is completed means n number of DNA should go to 2n numbers. Okay. If the cell fails to pass these checkpoints, it may initiate apoptosis and die. That I have been mentioning several times now. So, mitotic cell cycle is driven by a series of cell regulatory proteins, and this is cyclin dependent kinases, and during cell cycle a number of interacting cyclins and kinases go through a highly orchestrated series of switches on and checkpoints. Switches on and switches off means, the meaning is that these biochemical processes which is occurring in G1, that is taking place only because there are some intracellular signaling pathways are activating of the cells to get into G1. Okay. Similarly, it may so happen that other cellular signaling pathways are activating S phase, different set of signaling pathways are activating G2 phase, and different set of signaling pathways are activating the M phase. Okay. And that depends on what kind of signaling pathways, that depends on what kind of cell type it is, whether it is fibroblast, whether it is neuroblastoma, etc., etc. Now, this is the quantifying typical cell cycle. So, cells typically divide at a rate which is proportional to the number of cells at a given time frame. That means, at any given time frame, let us say at point time t, the cell growth or cell division rate dx by dt, where x is the number of cells at that point of time, is proportional to, so dx by dt is proportional to x. So, that is proportionality constant is mu. Mu is nothing but the growth rate here. Okay. This is the growth rate is mu. So, from that you can find out that x t is nothing but x naught exponential mu t. Okay. And typically mu you can find out ln 2 by Td, whereas Td is the doubling time. Doubling time means you start with x, you go to the 2x. Okay. Now, if you put these things here, you can immediately find out that mu is nothing would be ln 2 by Td. Why? Because if you put here this is 2x, here it is x, x cancelled out, this is exponential, this is log. So, mu would be, that is the Td. Now, Td, that is the doubling time for human cells, as I said, is 12 hours, and mu max is the 0.06 per day. So, that is the typical growth rate. Now, this doubling time again for the rat type of cells, for other type of cells is maybe different, 12 hours to 24 hours to different 48 hours and so on. So, we do not know that what is the I mean, therefore, that doubling time for different type of cells are different. Okay. Now, let us see that how that human cells will evolve during the cell growth process. Now, in the cell culture, typically cell culture, initially what will happen? The cells are explanted from some organs, like for example, liver cells. Liver cells are explanted from the liver tissue. Okay. So, tissue is nothing but self organized array of cells with the extracellular matrix which helps in the binding process. Okay. Now, if you have self organized cells, the cells can be extracted from a tissue, then you have to do some primary culture. Primary culture means initially this culture you have to culture in a particular solution, and this culture medium you have to culture it for maybe 1 to 2 hours. Now, after 1 to 2 hours, then the cells will be cultured for several weeks up to, sorry, this is 1 to 2 weeks is the primary culture. Then after that you have to culture it for several weeks up to 10 to 12 weeks before the cells are ready for your use. Now, this stage, it is known as the subculture stage. Subculture stage means when what you have to do is that you have to use the culture medium. Now, after you go from one passage to another passage, you have to remove the culture medium, you have to add a fresh medium. Okay. So, what you see that a cell undergoes several subculture intervals here. Now, each interval can be 1 week or can be less than a week. After several passage, so what you see here, cumulative cell number increases. Cumulative cell number means once you started with certain cell number, the total cell number at any given point of time will continuously increase because of the cell passages or subculture stages. So, this is called serial passage, and this passage can be n is equal to 1 to 10 or something like that. So, that means you have to spend in that subculture phase up to 10 to 12 weeks, and out of that when it is reaching almost maximum, you can see yourself, if you are expert biologist, you can see yourself that when the cells are really in the congruent stage or cells are really in the growing stage, and then you stop, because you know that after that time cell growth processes will almost reach a steady state. After that cells will not grow any further, even if you continue passaging further. And many stage what will happen, then after the continuous cell cycle, if you keep on growing that cells, then cells also undergo certain death processes. So, cells will undergo apoptosis processes. Limitation of the cell production, typically primary human cells that can undergo 30 to 50 doublings in the culture. 30 to 50 doublings means it will undergo 30 to 50 times multiplied by Td. Okay. And what is Td? That you comes from what? So, x t is equal to x naught exponential mu t, right. So, at t is equal to T d, what will happen? This will be 2x, this will be small x, capital X. So, therefore, T d would be ln 2 by mu, right. So, T d is equal to ln 2 by mu, and if you know the growth rate, then you can find out what is the doubling time. Now, here it has been mentioned that 30 to 50 times doubling time is the total actually can undergo depending on the kind of primary human cells, and a single cell can theoretically produce 10 to the power 10 to 10 to the power 15 cells in culture. That is huge number of cells that in single cell can produce, but that is theoretically, because many times these numbers may not be achieved in the real situation depending on the culture medium. Now, just few filling for the numbers as I have given you for the cell migration. Now, hematopoietic, the progenitor cells, this is 11 to 12 hour doubling time, whereas dermal skin fibroblast, this is typically 15 hour doubling time. Adult chondrocytes, that is cartilage tissue cells, typically it is 24 to 48 hour doubling time, and adult human chondrocytes cannot be cultured for any meaningful period. So, what you see here, that the ability to grow cells also vary with the cell type. Typically, it is of the order of few hours or sometimes 1 or 2 days. So, this is the 12 to 15 hours is the fibroblast cells, whereas 24 to 48 hours is the chondrocyte cells, typical doubling times. Now, this is again is the just to show you that that if you culture the cells in a particular culture medium, the growth rate is also different depending on the type of cells. So, I have not put the different cell name here. So, what it shows here A, B, C, D different graphs, they are obtained with 4 different cell types, and you can see qualitatively the graphs are similar because cells per colony increases with time in the culture. But however, the slopes, if you see these slopes are different. Okay. So, the slopes are different means their growth rate is also different. That means that mu value is different for all 4 different cell lines. Okay. Now, again coming back to the cell cycle, the description of the cell cycle, what I have shown you earlier, that typically interphase is the longest time period over which a cell stays in a typical cell cycle, and interphase contains G1, S, G2, these 3 phases, and your M phase is the mitosis phase. Okay. So, G1, S, G2 phase also at individual phase boundary you have the checkpoints. Okay. And again that strictly the checkpoint is maintained when the cell will go from G2 to M phase. Now, here it is nucleus and this is cytoplasm, then there is chromosome replication here. Now, when it will go to the G2 phase and when G2 to M phase, it will check whether this is the N chromosome has been gone to 2N chromosomes here, where the number is doubled. So, that in M phase it can simply go to the mitosis and cytokinesis, that means there is a cytoplasm division and it goes to 2 daughter cells. Now, 2 daughter cells can give rise to another 2 daughter cells when individually they will go to the cell cycle. These daughter cell also give rise to another 2 daughter cells, and individually these 2 daughter cells again it will go rise to another daughter cells. So, what you can see that in one doubling time TD, 1 cell to 2 cells, 2 cells to 4 cells, 4 cells to 8 cells, like that it will go on during the cell cell cycle processes in order to increase the cell number. So, again coming back to the real life processes, you have to this 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, all these processes in between at certain time you have to change your media, you have to use the fresh media, because why? When a number of cell population increases, then they will consume the food and nutrient from the medium. So, there may not be fresh nutrients which are available in the medium for the newly growing cells. Okay. So, therefore, if you change the medium, in biological language it is called passaging. Passaging means n is equal to 1 passage, n is equal to 2 passage, means that at every time interval you change the medium, you add fresh medium, and then this way you have to do like 5 to 6 times, 5 to 6 passaging. So, that cells will continuously grow in the medium and then cell numbers will also grow with time, and as a result that cells will slowly reach the steady state growth process. this is a biochemical mechanisms. What it shows here, that during the progression through M phase, this is some myosin motor proteins that are activated. This is your green ones is what? That is the actin filaments, right. Now, actin and myosin filaments here this is that actin and myosin filaments of the contractile ring. Now, mitotic spindle is essentially assembles first and segregates chromosome here, and the contractile ring assembles later and divides the mother cells to a 2 daughter cells. So, here is this one from one parent cell you are producing 2 daughter cells, and what you see here, that this contractile ring here, it is producing 1 daughter cell here, and here it is another daughter cell. So, cell division and the cell cycle, once it goes from G1S G2, that is interphase, what will happen? It goes through the M phase. In the M phase, again in the micro scale, it can be divided into several stages. Okay. Remember what I am saying. What I am saying is that you know already interphase G1 plus S plus G2, okay, G1 plus S plus G2. Once it goes into the M phase, although the M phase in the total cell cycle time, it shows only lower fraction, much lower than the total interphase time scale, but this M phase also biologically it can be subdivided into 6 different phases. And what is the 6 different phases? One is the prophase, one is pro-metaphase, and the third one is metaphase. Again you can remember if you apply some logic. Prophase, pro-metaphase. Pro-metaphase means something before the metaphase. So, therefore, next phase would be metaphase. Then there will be anaphase, there will be telophase, and there is cytokinesis. So, in this prophase, pro-metaphase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase, now new chromosome are segregated into two would be daughter cells, okay. Not yet they have daughter cells. Only when cytokinesis is completed, then cytoplasm is exactly divided into 2 daughter cells, and then there's 2 daughter cells are now complete, okay. Now, these 2 daughter cells can now enter G1 plus S plus G2 phase, and then we will produce again 4 daughter cells, then 4 to 8, 8 to 16, like that it will go. Essentially, division of cell occurs in the M phase, but G1S G2 phase is the interphase process when cell actually prepares itself for undergoing into the mitosis phase, and therefore, this preparation phase G1 plus S plus G2 is important for the cell cycle. If the cell cannot pass through this G1S G2, then cells cannot simply enter into the M phase, and cells cannot undergo the cell division phase. Okay. So, what happens in the prophase? That is the phase number 1 inside the M phase. So, phase number 1 means here it is the centrosome, and you have the intact cell membrane here. Now, this is the mitotic spindles, and myosin motors are here, and this is your actin filaments. So, replicated chromosomes such consisting of 2 closely associated sister chromosomes, they are in the condensed form in the prophase, and outside the nucleus mitotic spindles assemble between 2 centrosomes. So, this is one centrosome, this is another centrosome. Between 2 centrosomes mitotic spindles start assembling, and chromosomes is more in the condensed form. Let us see what happens in the pro-metaphase. In the pro-metaphase, what happens? It starts abruptly with the breakdown of the nuclear envelope. Here, if you go back to the prophase, here nuclear pore complex are there. This is the nuclear pore complex, remember, and nuclear membrane are also intact. Now, in order to produce 2 daughter cells, you have to produce 2 nucleus also, right, but now there is only 1 nucleus. So, the formation of 2 nucleus is possible unless your nuclear membrane is also distracted or fragmented, right. This comes from a basic physical logic. So, what you see here, that these fragments of the nuclear envelope that you see, and then myosin motors then interact with this DNA chromosome, and here it is becoming slowly, you can see that there will be segregation of the chromosomes at two different regions, and chromosomes now attach to spindle microtubules via kinetochores and undergo active movement. Now, in the metaphase, what you see very clearly that this chromosome, this is the mitotic spindles here, this is your chromosomes which are being segregated and which is out, which is still in the very loosely bound nucleus here, and there is no intact nuclear membrane which is surrounding these chromosomes. And eventually they are trying to segregate from this chromosome, and this is that one end, this is another end. Okay. So, in the anaphase it starts this splitting very clearly, splitting into the nucleus into from one nucleus to two nucleus, and in the after the telophase it is exactly very clear. As you can see here, there is contractile ring also to starts forming, and there is overlapping microtubules. So, this one nucleus starts forming at one end of the cell, another nucleus starts forming at the another end of the cell, and after some times what will happen at the after the telophase, then it comes your cytokinesis. So, before the cytokinesis, this is the last phase, telophase. Telo means end almost, right, and telophase means here this is that cells are almost prepared to undergo now cytokinesis process, and in the cytokinesis process here you can see that it contracts here at the contractile ring. Contractile ring means something it helps in the contraction exactly at the middle of the parent cell, and once it contracts, then the cells, this is cell number 1 daughter cell, this is cell number 2 another daughter cells. So, this is one cell, this is 2 cell number 2, and then again there is reformation of the nuclear envelope. So, completed nuclear envelope surrounds the decondensing chromosome. So, this is the decondensing chromosomes, and then again the nuclear pore complex and nuclear membrane is formation is possible. So, all these biological membranes, if required, they can be broken and they can be reformed. Okay? And one of the example I have shown you here, that how nuclear envelope, when time is required, that becomes fragmented, and when at the end of the telophase it becomes again reformed, and the cytokinesis it formed in the two distinct sister cells or daughter cells. So, this is the interphase, again it starts. In the interphase you can see that chromosomes DNA are getting replicated and it is becoming more and more condensed, and during interphase cell increases its in size also, and this increasing in size is possible because of the more protein synthesis or more metabolic activity has to be there inside the cells, because cells can undergo atrophy and hypertrophy. Atrophy means increase in size, or decrease in size, hypertrophy means increase in size. All the cellular adaptation process is possible because that increase and decrease in size means when cells will decrease in size, certain intercellular constituents has to come out. When cell wants to increase in size, that means more proteins has to be synthesized in the cell, and therefore, it will undergo hypertrophy. The DNA of chromosome is replicated and centrosome is duplicated, and this is the typical mitosis in a typical animal cell. What you can see, this is a very nice fluorescence images, right, and these fluorescence images, this is a kind of sequential processes. It shows that how this nucleus is being also duplicated. You start from the top left, it is the interphase, green stained region is that your cytoplasmic area, actin filaments, blue stained region is your nucleus area. Okay. Typical cell cycle is 20 to 25 micron, and that is why if you see that micron bar here is a 10 micron. Okay. Now, in the interphase area, cells have increased in size. You can see that large cells in the early prophase, late prophase, pro-metaphase, that means it is a in the M phase here. It is already in M phase, and here this is the end of the S1 G S2. So, that is the end of the S2 phase here. So, the cells have passed the checkpoint, it is entering the M phase. It is the early prophase, it is the late prophase, this is the pro-metaphase, this is the metaphase. Metaphase, you can see here that in the nucleus itself there is mitotic spindle and they are actually attaching to the chromosomes. Early anaphase here and late anaphase here, this is a one daughter cell, this is one daughter cell, but still these daughter cells are not completed. At the late telophase, you can see there is cytokinosis and there is this daughter cells will be two daughter cells. So, this is like two daughter cells here. Okay. So, you started with one cell, you end up with the two cells, 1 plus 1. So, this is what a series of events that take place in a typical mitosis cycle, typical mitosis phase, M phase. But remember, if a total cycle time for the human cell is 12 hours, this mitosis phase actually takes place sometimes in 1 hour or half an hour, because your maximum period that a cell stay in a cell cycle is your interphase. As I mentioned earlier, the G1 can be variable phase, S can be typically 7 or 8 hours and G2 can be 1 to 2 hours. So, 8 plus 1 plus 2 means almost like 10 to 11 hours. Rest time the cell spends in the mitosis M phase, and therefore, you can understand that mitosis is a small time frame over the when you consider the longer time frame of the cell cycle.